The old man built. The old man built. The old man built. The old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality been stricken from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Builds. What's going on, everybody? Oh, man. Usually I talk about science right away, man, but the world's in turmoil. Got morons out there shooting other people. It just sucks. So, hearts and prayers go out to those people out there, for those places affected. I just think it's pure ignorance. I don't see why anybody would do that kind of stuff. I absolutely hate it. I think it's stupid. And I don't know. I think those people need to be made an example of. Back in the day, they used to take them, put them in town square, and do medieval stuff to them. You know what I'm saying? I think they should go back to that, make examples out of these people, so no one wants to do that stuff again. Just a personal opinion, man. Some of the other things that suck around here is they keep pulling people out of here, man. People have been in the community for quite a while, and unfortunately, they were not legalized. So we got issues, man. It just sucks. I'm here in California. And a lot of people come in here, man, and they're used to living here and hanging out here, and we're all friends. And then just because paperwork isn't in order, they took them. So not too happy about that, man. If you've been in the community for a while and you're willing to integrate with the rest of us, and do everything and share the good parts of your culture, and take on the great parts of the United States that we live in. I think it's awesome. But unfortunately, the government doesn't feel that way right now, and I give them a double barrel finger for that one. They can go back to their crap and fix it. Don't like it at all. Anyway, I don't want to get too political, guys. I like talking science on this channel. Those two things, man, hearts and prayers go out to the people who are affected by moron gunmen out there. Again, make an example out of those people. I think they should just take them around to the back of the courthouse and shoot them in the head and be done with them. We don't need to pay for their sorry asses anymore. Anyway, okay, all right. What's going on, brothers? If I have any additional information that commits any felony, if I knew that processing attorney was biased, be honest with you, brother, I don't deal anything with anything like that. I absolutely at all. Sorry. Don't get into that. I don't like any of those things, to be honest with you. I don't own guns, but if you want to own them, I could care less. Go right ahead. Doesn't bother me a bit, man. Not one bit. So both mother and father were both in the Air Force, and they all learned to shoot and do everything else and own weapons, and I think that's absolutely amazing. Go right ahead, do what you want to do. In my personal opinion, in my life, I don't do it. So, and I think that's just each their own. You know what I mean? Bows and arrows, yeah. I'm actually pretty good with that. Bows and arrows. My son got one. So funny. He put a little target against the fence and didn't put any wood behind it, man. And he not so good with the bow and arrow. And let's just say the neighbor came over complaining that the arrows were in the yard. So unfortunately, you know what I mean? That sucked, but I had no problem hitting that target. I usually don't. So yeah, it's all good, man. I forgot you were watching which channel. That's all good, man. I came out with a little bit different stuff in the beginning, but we're good. What's going on, guys? Yes, I did get your picture. Yes, I did. What's going on, Victor? Oh man. Yeah. Lover, not a fight, not a killer. Yeah, I get you there, brother. Not a problem at all. Yeah, honestly, man, I don't know what to say. Those people, man, they just keep showing up and they keep ruining our society. I don't think our penalties are harsh enough. And I'll say this, man. I've always thought this, and it's a little bit different today, guys. Instead of just science, I'll talk about other stuff. If you kill somebody, the family who person has passed away should be able to decide your fate. And if they agree that you have no time left on this earth and that's the way it should be, I don't think you should be able to get a sentence where maybe some idiot down the road can pardon you and you get out. I just don't believe in it. Okay, so we can reduce the amount of money given to these idiots out there and paying for those people to be housed when there's no reason. Just wipe them out and be done with it. And it'll send a harsh penalty to everybody. Hey, these are the rules. Don't break them. And get some of these morons off the streets and out of our jails and just be done with them. There's nothing more that they can contribute. And to be honest with you, I don't want a fucking thing from them. Okay? I want them to go away. Just my opinion. It's Christmas almost, guys. To be honest with you, I was looking at my stuff. And last year we were doing French Thing Take Christmas, and I had a song for it and everything. It was funny, but we're going to have to redo a Christmas song. Have something fun to laugh at getting towards Christmas, man. Always like to do something fun like that. Everybody can have a good time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. We're a soul split into 8 billion parts. The damage we inflict on others is multiplied by ourselves. Well, of course it is. But some people don't feel it like others. So, yeah, you gotta fix that, remedy that. Yeah, we got Christmas coming up. My wife goes, you got to go out and get me a present. I go, dude, it's been like 24, 25 years, I think we've been together. So it's like, just pick what you want. You know what I mean? Go take the money out of the account. I guess it's the whole, oh, you got it for me, this and that. It's like, okay, whatever. I'll buy you one thing and then you could buy the rest. I don't know if any of you guys out there have done that, man, because it's like, I just get tired of it. Like, you know what you want. Just put it down or write me a list and I'll go out and pick it up. But I guess that's just laziness in you when you've been together that long, man. It's a long time, man. Even yesterday, she come in my garage one too many times, man. I'm in there. I finished my flooring in my garage. It's so much better in here. She come in one too many times, man, and get that look, that stare of like, what do you really want? Like, seriously, have you not talking to me enough today? So, I mean, I know that's probably not like everybody's life, but it is mine, man. You only get so many questions a day. Like, and it's not like you're talking to each other, it's questions. Oh, can you do this? Or have you done this? Or what's going on here? Oh, man. So much, so much different when you're married that long, man. She wants to be loved. Of course she does. But then stop asking so many questions. You'd be better off that way. You got married in 91. Oh, man. It's a long time, brother. It is a long, long time. Yeah, I said 20, 25, 26 years, somewhere right around there, man. They should already, they should already know, man. That's all good, man. What's going on, Lightspeed? What's up, Straight Dope? Man, we're all here hanging out, guys. Yeah. I got married when 2003. Yeah, so you got a lot more years on me. That's funny. Check us. It just usually tells me stuff. That's a better way to do it, man. Asking me a lot of questions is not a good idea. Oh, you're going on 33? Oh, wow. That's a lot, man. Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to both of you. Jeez. I know it's coming, guys. You got 11? Nice. Dude, like I'll be honest with you. I know it's gonna be a long time, man. I'll be there until we're both done in life, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. 10 for you. You got another 10 there? Nice. Yeah, man. Marriage, like, it's a hard thing in your first 8 years, man. It's the worst. Like the best and the worst. You get the first 4 years that are good. The next 4 years, everybody has a temper tantrum every 5 minutes, and then you know what I mean. You get past that, and you become real people again. And in the middle of that, you had a bunch of kids, and now you're being driven crazy and going bald and getting gray hair from all your kids. So at that point, you settle your differences and move on together, and that's the way it works. Funny how that is. Most managers don't last past that point where everybody's like just upset at the world. Wait till you have a bunch of kids, man. Like all my buddies are having kids that I grew up with, and their kids are like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, something like that. I'm thinking, man, my granddaughters too. I mean, my kids are grown, man. I had them when I was young. It was thank God because I can't move the way I used to. Granddaughter once or twice a week is fine. Imagine that every day. Oh my Jesus! I don't know if I could do that. I mean, if I had to, I would, but it's hard, man. I'm fat and old. I don't get around that well. So, oh well. Yeah, Christmas is coming, man. I'm actually, hopefully, it goes by pretty quick here. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's nice to, it's nice to get things and give things to other folks. It's not that. It's just that, your wife ties up your money. She's like, well, we got to buy all these presents here and got to buy them here. And it's like, oh, well, I need to buy stuff for what I'm doing. Oh, no, no, we got to wait. Yeah, it gets that this last month, man. I kind of counting down the days like, is it over yet? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we get to New Year's. Always fun. Yeah. I got a bunch of retards that live around me that like to go out and explode things in the street. So you have to deal with that every year. I just go out there and make sure I have my fire extinguishers and make sure they don't take down the whole neighborhood. But that's all good. Oh man. You were thinking about the gravity fly. The gravity fly, man, I got a couple of them over my shoulder. They're sitting there. I got to do some capacitance testing. And I don't know if anybody watched the video on this. We're going to talk about some science, I guess. I was doing a transfer of the one wire energy, so the wire down the center of the Tesla coil to put it in a capacitor to see if it worked. And I checked the voltage and amperage on it, and yeah, it did work. How does that translate to the gravity flyer? Well, you just got an asymmetrical capacitor in the center of it. So what do you actually need? You need to gain energy in capacitance in it. So would that energy translate to giving you capacitance? And it did. And it clearly showed that it would. So what we have to do is set up a gravity flyer without a center plate, and let's see if we can't amplify that capacitance. That's kind of pretty simple. I also got two plastic little bowls, about this big around, about this tall, and some little CD motors. And what we're going to do is just put the aluminum tape on the inside, okay? On the top and bottom, make sure they don't connect. Make sure we're keeping your air gap in there, right? Like about this size. And we're going to run the CDs one way, one the other, which is common based on that they always turn the same way. And when you flip it upside down, it'll go opposite. Pretty easy. Put the CDs on there, let them reflect. So you're going to get light in there, but you're also going to get the eddy currents, and then you're also going to get convection, and you're going to get a magnetic field in there when we connect the aluminum strips to the what is it, DC, and then we let it go and flip to AC, and we'll let it flip back and forth, and we'll start up a Tesla coil next to it. The goal is to see if you can take that, an asymmetrical capacitor, and make it work and see if it won't create anti-gravity. So it should work. I mean, from everything I've seen other people do it, yeah, it should pull off a working model. Now, you know, this goes into a couple different things. Sal Paez is out there, and he said that that's what he's doing, is taking an asymmetrical capacitor and make it work, which he patented, which I'm surprised they let him patent because T.T. Brown came up with this years before him. So, for those of you who think T.T. Brown was about ion wind, you're completely wrong. It was about an asymmetrical capacitor that he created in open air so that he can get anti-gravity. The idea is AC resists aluminum. So anytime you can create a magnetic field around aluminum, but you can direct the magnetic field, you can lift aluminum. Now think about what I just said. They take a flat coil, put it on the table, then they take aluminum and they put in the magnetic field in the coil. And it makes eddy currents in the aluminum, and the aluminum rises up above it. You say, okay, well, that's lift. So how do you do that in open air? You must create an open air capacitor that has magnetism in it in order to lift aluminum based on the eddy currents in the aluminum. That part's pretty simple, right? We all get it. Okay, well, how do you create a big enough field in open air? That's kind of the question then, right? Okay, we can get aluminum. That's pretty simple. We can get light aluminum. We can get thicker aluminum. Thicker the aluminum is, the more eddy currents you get. So you go, okay, so what do I want to do here? Well, I need to create a big enough magnetic field around it in order to do it, but I also need to create it in one direction. Okay, so you go, okay, I'll rotate some magnets. Okay, that might get us there, but I don't think you're going to get a heavy enough magnetic field in open air to get what you want. So you're going to have to add to it. So you're going to have to add in that magnetic field a capacitance in between the two so that you can amplify the capacitance. Okay, well, that's not so hard. We just create a frame, rotate some magnets on the bottom disc, take another disc on the top, put some high voltage between the two, and we got an asymmetrical capacitor with extra magnetism because of the magnets in it, right? Then we need some aluminum in there for our eddy currents. Okay, not terribly difficult when you think about it. Getting some of the engineering right takes some time, but that's pretty much what the Gravity Flyer is. I mean, when you really get down to it, that's pretty much what it is. Now there's other things that do other things and amplify things. The greatest thing is you got to get from a DC field to an AC field in there, because you need the AC field in order to lift aluminum, because the DC field won't do it. That's fine. Anytime you take a DC flyback and you put it on an anode and cathode, and then you put a Tesla coil nearby, what you're going to get is you're going to end up making the DC flyback into AC power is what it's actually going to do. It's going to convert it over to an AC, and that's going to be able to give you your field to lift aluminum. Cool. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it works. Now, how do you get that to do more? Well, you take the center of the Tesla coil and you attach it to the aluminum because you want to amplify the eddy currents in the aluminum itself. So when you connect it there, it amplifies the eddy currents in the aluminum. What is the biggest mistake we make sometimes is you don't think about how the asymmetrical capacitor works with different material. And I mean that in the way of, does it have spikes on it? Does it not? Does it have some kind of a sharp edge to it or not? And here's a simple way that it works, okay? You need one smooth side, okay? That's the side you want to build eddy currents in, okay? But you need one smooth side to be able to take all the voltage. You need the other side to be rough. And the rougher it is, the more energy you get in the capacitor. Why does that come down to it? Because when you take a DC flyback and you run it, you can run it between a saw blade and a round tube of aluminum, and you get a very nice, beautiful flow coming out of it with a ton of voltage and energy, which is exactly what you're looking for. When you have paint on it, ruins it. When you have copper, it ruins it because copper likes to stay in there with it and resist it, so it has a resistance to the metal. Um, but a magnetic field, to create a good one, you just want simple iron in it. And then aluminum's great for the receiving end of it, is way better than any other material, again, because of the eddy currents in it and because it'll hold in, or excuse me, it pulls that type of energy to it where it resists the magnetic field. So it's all in field play and how you get it done. So that's what we got to do. And it's real simple. Just take out the center plate. We'll just do some tests on it, check the capacitance. Um, if we could do that and just see where it is and the distances we need and how much we could build up in there, um, if moving them apart real quick like that gets a better effect, then we just have to change the design of the craft, which isn't very hard. I really want an outside shell to this. I do not like the open air. It allows you to get a field around it. I want to strengthen that field. Some of the things that you're going to have to look at too is they did this stuff. How do I want to say this? In a lot of crafts that you find, like in Roswell, the crash stuff, it was aluminum, bismuth, aluminum. Why? Because anytime that you have the aluminum, you get an eddy current, but you're also going to have a magnetic field, which will give it convection, which will take all of that bismuth inside and liquefy it. And it'll stay liquid until the thing stops running. And then it'll go back to a solidified form. And it'll be more like lead at that point. But then you start it up again, and what happens? It liquefies again and goes. We all understand what mercury does when you liquefy it. So think about the two. It's because the bismuth itself has a low melting point, is why it liquefies in there. And it's not very hard to understand. You just want a liquid metal in there. Why? Because you're going to raise up the amount of magnetism in there, which is going to drive the eddy currents higher. Eddy currents to an AC field is lift. Just understand what I'm saying there. Your key to your lift is the eddy currents in there. And once you figure that out, you'll be all right. One thing that you always got to look at is when you're creating fields, you're doing it in spherical form. So what else do you have to look at? Well, you're going to create a scalar components of this. There's no question about it. There's going to be a heat and cold factor to it. As a matter of fact, if you didn't know this, you should. If you take two different types of wires, twist them at the ends together, put one side in ice water and one side over here to a fire, what's going to happen? There's going to be a current drawn in between them. You're going to get voltage, amperage, and frequency, just like that. And you go, well, hold on, you didn't put any energy into it. Yes, I did. We put energy into it, just wasn't the type that you were thinking of. So when I tell you there's more to energy than what you think, more than AC/DC, I'm trying to tell you something more. There's heat and cold in there that create the energy and well, and it screws up most systems. They don't realize it's there, don't account for it, and screw up their system altogether, make that frequency spike in ways that you don't want it to. But it's there. You can do a simple test, just like I said. Go get you a glass of ice water, go get yourself a lighter, put two different kinds of wire in there, one copper, one, I don't know, get some aluminum in there, some cheapy wire. I mean, connect them together and put them in both. And you'll get an energy between them. Pretty simple, man. Physics works pretty easy. Mercury would be a great way to do this between two things of aluminum. If it's probably illegal in California, to be honest with you. Most things are. If we were in a lab, I'd have no problem firing it up. Trust me, put me behind the shield, fire it up, make sure we got a bunch of lead around, because if we're going to get some, probably some decent radiation coming off of it. But I think the reaction would be lift. I think that's what they get in the Nazi Bell when they created that one. They got some lift out of it because they're using the mercury in there and they're spinning it and they're getting extra power out of it. So yeah. Interesting how these things work, isn't it? There's 3 to 4 fields you really have to pay attention to, and some fall in line. Anti-gravity, I don't think is that difficult, guys. If you wanted to lift something that's real light, we already know you get a little lifter, you're, a couple ounces, you can lift it all day. Not very hard. What happens to the wood because it's balsa wood? It takes on a static potential inside of it, which basically just means that it gets energy inside of it. For those of you who work with static electricity, paper does it because of the mesh format of the paper. It'll do it very easily. And if you put it between an anode and a cathode, you can get this thing to take static into it, and it'll saturate it with static and it'll make it lift, which just basically means to put an energy form into it and got it to move. You got to remember we got an anode and cathode in the earth, which is very simple. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of high voltage up in the atmosphere, but you got a bunch of magnetism. The problem is we don't realize certain things that are dormant in electricity until it's too late. You don't realize all the time that you're getting radiation. You don't realize that if you take the electricity and go to a 90-degree angle with it, you're going to get eddy currents. Okay. You probably don't realize static and magnetism are the same thing. What matters is how much voltage to amperage you get in it. It's a simple scale. It's a sliding scale. It goes back and forth at all times. They are the same thing. I know a lot of people argue about that, and I still don't understand why. When you can flat out go over to a system and just change the frequency in it or change the volts and amps in it, and you get the answer right in front of you. It shows up all the time. If you don't know that, you haven't worked with it. So, yeah, I mean, that's why you could take two DC flybacks and it'll act like static electricity because you're stripping the amps out of it, keeping the volts, and it all works almost the same. So there's a lot of stuff like that people don't understand about it. There's also entropy in it. You're dealing with hot and cold in the system. Just based on the hot and cold, you're going to get energy in the system. Based on resonance frequency, you get more energy in the system. A lot of people don't realize that. The heat in your system, they go, oh man, you're just losing it to the air. No, not necessarily. It changes your frequency in your system as well. Then they go, oh, well, DC doesn't have a frequency. Oh, yeah? Okay. That's great. Then how did they take DC and make it AC? Well, we just stack two pulse waves on each other so it matches the frequency arch. And you go, oh, really? Really? And it doesn't have frequency in it? Yeah, a lot of ignorant things out there that are said to be true that are not. It's just it's a setting point for that the frequency doesn't change is what they're trying to say. But when other people get it, they read the same law the wrong way and say that there's no frequency in it. It just meant that it didn't change. It got to a certain amplitude and stayed there. And you know that as soon as you want to change it, you just in any DC system, you just add a sine wave to it, and what do? It changes it all. But that's okay. You just got to realize there's more to energy than what you think. By the way, the coils we use are an amplified form of the Tesla coil. For those of you who've worked with Tesla's original coils, which I doubt hardly anybody has, they get a totally different understanding than what we have. And I'll just say this, it's going to take a heck of a lot of power to oscillate those. And you go, well, that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Well, think about how close the wires are together. In the original Tesla coil, you're this far apart. If you made one just in your house, if you go to see what Tesla did, they're maybe this far apart. Just think of the fields that are going on in there and the magnetism as it goes around the wire and the electricity and how much more distance it has to cover in between on each gap that you get up there. It takes a lot more voltage in order to do that, which means they're a high voltage system. When you get to regular voltage and stuff, they don't work so well. They don't work so well in oscillation. You have to use frequency generators to get them to go. I don't like that at all. That's not the same thing we're doing here. We're compressing a Tesla coil down to what he would have done as a bipolar Tesla coil, and we're making it work that way. You see, I think people misunderstand this because they didn't really read the patents. There is no patent for the Tesla coil that we make today. Let me just get that out there so we all understand this. There's absolutely no patent from Tesla for the Tesla coil we use today. Doesn't exist. If you go there, you can get to a Tesla bipolar. The bipolar works, and it is a Tesla one. That's it. He doesn't have a Tesla coil like we have traditionally the way we make them. It confuses a lot of people because you're applying his understanding of what he's doing to the part that we're using today, so it makes it very confusing. You go, well, I'm applying Tesla's understanding because you say it's a Tesla coil, but it's not a Tesla-made Tesla coil. So the understanding is a bit different. They operate differently, and they operate way out of different ranges. And you go, well, yeah, but what to say it's the same thing, but you can't. And because of that, you're going to have different problems. And no Chat GPT or Grok or anybody's going to understand this because they don't understand the difference either. But you're making an Odin coil. I hate the name. I wish it would just called the Odin. I'm going to call it Odin coil. The Odin coil is what we make today. That's what we do. Tesla's whole system was different. Okay. He's not doing the same thing that we're doing. So it makes it kind of weird when you say, I got this Tesla coil doing this, and then you get to ChatGPT and they go, well, Tesla coil can't do that. Well, yeah, you're right, because the patents say they can't do it. So because we're not using a Tesla coil, we're using a version of it. It's like, it's hard for it to understand it. So it's hard for it to understand energy. But I'll tell you this, there's a reason that everything converts. And this is why there's a misunderstanding, and we really need to look at it. All energy comes from the same source. It breaks down in different ways, okay, into different forms. So you realize that the only thing going on here, when you realize that that's true, is you're simply amplifying certain parts over another. And you go, well, not all energy has all those parts, Nathan. Yes, it does. How do you think it gets there? Energy is all of it. So all you're doing is amplifying different parts of it to get different things to happen. That's it. You got to remember the energy always stays the same. The energy is what the energy is. It's which one are you amplifying? You go, well, I'm going to amplify the voltage. Okay, we get to static electricity. That's not a problem. I want to amplify the amperage. Okay, so I get to magnetism. Okay. I want to amplify the temperature in it. Okay, so we get to entropy in there. We get hot and cold. Okay, they're in there. All right. I want to compress the energy, Nathan. That's what I want to do. All right. So you want to create radiation out of it. It's in there. It's just in a very low form. It's dormant in low voltage. It's there. And you're going to create it out of it. You go, oh, man. Well, that sucks. Well, yeah, because you're not accounting for all the other different variables that are in energy itself. Once you account for them, even if the accounting says 0 or does not apply in low voltage, that's cool. But you can't just write it off as 0. Or if it has a decimal point that has 3 points back, you still can't write it off as 0. It's because it shows up later in your voltage. When you get to a higher voltage, it'll start showing up. Then you get to different things. You go, oh my God. So what's the difference between a plasma and ball of lightning? The amount of energy in it. Which one magnified the field? That's it. That's the understanding. If you don't understand that, it's going to take you forever to make it. I mean, good luck. You will not understand the principle behind it. You just got to understand there's different things in there that are dormant. I wish they would have written that correctly in the beginning and said, hey, this, and this are in there. They're dormant at low levels. Once you get to higher voltages, you have to watch this because as soon as you compress it, you start getting this secondary, starts to spike in it. And you go, okay, when that's true, when you go, all right, Tesla energy is not that bad. There's a tiny bit of radiation in it, right? Well, what happens when you compress that energy? There's a lot of radiation in it. and it gives way to X-rays. And you're going, oh, that means that it was there the whole time. Of course it was. So was the temperature in the system. So is the system different when it's linear versus in 360-degree format? Completely different, geometries. Same energy reacts completely different. Interesting how it all works out. Yeah. Well, that's why I like playing with different systems like you guys. Well, find me the tricks and I'll find you the answer, right? So that's pretty much what I do. I take a frequency generator and I connect it up to the ZVS, and I'm able to put a sine wave right over top of the square wave that's going on there, and I can control the voltage. I can change the frequency, get it to thin out in the voltage. I can get it to add more amps into it if I want to. I can play with it all day. If you want to do your RAV and you want to do it right, well, that's the kind of system you want to play with, isn't it? I want to precisely put what I want into it. You go, well, what does that mean for something like the M machine? Monopole motor, just basic a big magnet. They go, well, they're in DC. So the way that we're going to fix that is we're going to chop up the magnet and make it like an AC. Why? If it's in DC, all you have to do is change the frequency, put a sine wave into it. So what does that do? Well, now I can decide how many volts and amps. For every, For every 10 volts, 0.2 of an amp is what you're going to get. Okay? That, if I'm not mistaken, no. For every 1 volt, you get 0.2 of an amp. So for every 10 volts, you get 2 amps. That's the way it works. That's your conversion number. Then all you got to do is flip the frequency now. Now you know what it is. So if you're getting 300 amps, which would be amazing, simply add a frequency to it. What will happen? You'll end up getting more voltage and less amperage, and you'll be able to tweak it, and you get all the energy you need. You say, well, Nathan, that means that the monopole motor that we're always taught was just pure amperage is actually volts and amps, and we can actually get a higher conversion rate out of the whole thing. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. The whole time it sat right in front of you with the easiest motor ever to build was sitting right in front of you the entire time. You just needed to understand the conversion. That's pretty simple. I don't know why we all don't do it, but it's right there. You could do other things in there. You can get high fluting on it, you know what I mean? Put mercury in it, but there's really no reason to. But it could be used as a pickup. And there's other advantages to doing that, but you really didn't need to. A couple brushes on the side of it, put it in there, add a sine wave over top the square. Boom, we're done. We got voltage and amperage usable, ready to go. That's pretty simple. But most people lose anything to get to over unity in conversion. They get the over unity, they can't convert it out of a system. I've seen it a ton of times. You can get 100 Tesla coils running off of one. If you can't make the conversion, it's completely useless. You have to learn how the conversion works. That's why putting it into a capacitor from the center of a Tesla coil was so awesome, because as soon as you knew it was there, you could put it into capacitance. You go, well, it doesn't work on a second Tesla coil coming out there. Well, it does, but you're not connecting to the center of the Tesla coil at that point. You're connecting to the number 2 winding on the thing by itself. For one reason, it's because you're inverting the field. You're creating the field from the inside on a secondary number 2 coil by itself, where in the original Tesla coil, you're compressing the energy to the center and getting the energy out of there. So yes, it does work. You just have to understand which side of the field you're on and where the energy is. Then you can understand energy conversion that way. But you can pull as much energy as you want. As a matter of fact, one of the best ways to do it is to put it in some type of liquid to convert the energy. That's why batteries work so well, You're putting it into the acid. The acid's in there to create the capacitance in there. So you can use water and salt. It works just as well. You get tons of energy inside of that. Maybe just make a salt water capacitor. That's pretty simple. You can make salt water battery and fill it up. You could do that as well. Either one you wanted to do. The hardest thing, like I said, is conversion. If you understand the conversion, you'll be all right. Conversions are fairly simple when you get to high voltage because we've already seen it on our line transformers outside of our house. They take high voltage, high frequency energy. They bring it into low frequency, okay, by the transformer they put up there on the pole. And what happens? They need to add mineral oil to compress it back into the line. Just understand that fact. It must be compressed back in the line. Well, what happens to the rest of it, Nathan? When it goes back on the line, all the high frequency will go back. They have a problem when they back it up too much, but in a normal instance, that's all you need. If you put it to an AC flyback and you run it backwards, you go, well, okay, I get energy, but I'm getting a bunch of voltage coming on my wire. Well, that's because you didn't have it in mineral oil. Once you put it in the mineral oil, it doesn't like to cross the barrier of the mineral oil. So then it'll compress it going in. There's just certain little tricks that you have to learn for some of this. Yeah, I think honestly, man, if you understand the conversions, you're going to be just fine in energy, but you have to realize what's in it. It's everything. So when you go, okay, well, you get energy out of eddy currents. Yes, you do, but you're going to have to convert it to regular currents to get it to work in your systems because you're not set up to run eddy currents as a voltage source. So what happens when you run eddy currents as a voltage source? You go, well, it doesn't like to convert in the system. It likes to go through like gas, and the energy comes out in an area. Okay, this is why I say gas, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a field. It goes through everything, and it'll light up gas, light bulbs, stuff like that. But it's not acting like regular, voltage. Well, that's correct because it's out of phase. You have to put it back into phase, which means you have to put it back into some type of a liquid to convert it back over. Then it'll convert back over. So I think there's just some misunderstandings about that. We do the center down the Tesla coil, and that stuff is outrageous, man. That is like high frequency eddy currents. It literally goes through everything. I don't care if you have lead. I don't care if you got a Faraday cage. I don't care if you stick it in your rear. It's going through everything. Okay. It's literally lighting up everything. Okay. You can stick it in your lunch. It'll go right through it. Not a problem. Stick it in your pancakes. You know what I mean? Anything that has any type of liquid form through it goes right through. Right through it. No problem. You put this stuff in the water table, goes right through it. I mean, they don't write that down. That's not in physics. Hey, this energy is going through everything. That's not on ChatGPT. They have no idea what it is. They say, well, it's pretty strange, man. It lit up my laboratory. Well, yeah, of course it is because you put a ton of it in there. So, yeah, I got stories, man. I put stuff through my burritos, everything, man. Put it through my orange. Crazier thing is, you hold them apart. One side has no energy in it. The other side's producing the energy. Yet they both light up the same to a light bulb. Okay, you go figure. You tell me how that works. Yeah, they get a lot of things wrong. I mean, imagine writing a book and correcting all that stuff, and how many physics experiments can be saved just by knowing that. It's if you knew all the conversions, you wrote them down, and you wrote the correct way that they act, right? Then a physics person can go in and go, okay, I need this result, and pull it up, and they go, okay, well, then you need to do this, this, and this in your experiment. Here's how it was done originally. And then they can get it right. And it would change a lot of things. And I think that's one of the most fascinating things about the RAV is that it does it already. It already understands the conversion for you. And I'm still fascinated by this thing, and I know Joe is too. When we look at it, and Sean's blown away sometimes when we show him the pictures back. when you have light converting into plasma right in front of you, it's like the holy grail. Just understand what this is in physics. And we take it for granted because we see it a lot on the show. So, we don't realize this all the time, but you actually getting one of the harder conversions to happen. You have light that you physically saw the light convert to plasma. You hear about it, you go, man, we took apart the metal, we looked at it with a microscope, we did all this thing. You go, but did you actually see the conversion? And they go, no, we didn't see it. What we're giving you is something that shows the conversion. You go, oh wow, that's interesting. And then we see, or it starts changing into crystal, and you go, man, what is going on here? It doesn't look like much when you look at it when it's happening. And then you take the piece and you go, man, that was clay. Now it's crystal. What is going on here? That's what's cool. That's what blows me away about that RAV experiment, man. It's because it's doing things that you get to see and evaluate, and with better cameras and better equipment to see it, better sensors, or actually sensors around it, you're going to be discovering all kinds of stuff. So, hey, just want to give a shout out to the Traveling Fools channel, man. I'll tell you, we did a show on Friday, man. It was awesome. Just awesome. Everybody on the panel, man, was in there. We're all active in there. It was a really awesome show, man. Really loved that one, man. We all had a great time on that. So I just want to give a shout out to them. We do the show every Friday, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time on my channel and their channel as well. So whichever one you're watching, along with Gutter's Pub on there. So yeah, pretty cool show, man. You guys should check it out. We laughed our butt off on Friday night, man. It was just out of control. So I know a lot of you got over there watching, man. All right, let me get back to a little bit of the physics there. So anyway, the RAV's a really cool experiment to show all that kind of stuff. But I think people need to understand the energy conversion. Like, I drive people nuts because you may show me a project in one way to do it, but I could take 3 different ways and build it and get it the same way. And I'll just give you something that people didn't understand. Someone goes, I got this high voltage device, and it puts out this high voltage. You go, okay, great. What is it? He goes, it's AC. Great. Let's take a look at it. Can you open it up and show it to me? And he goes, yeah, I'll open it up, right? So he opens it up. What is it? It's 4 AC flybacks controlled by DC, right? So you're putting in a DC pulse to this is basically what you're doing. And then you're taking a timer circuit in order to make a frequency out of it in order to control the actual amount, because your potentiometer is going to control the amount of frequency going into it, which will allow you to control, where you're at. So he's looking at me, he goes, Nathan, it's an AC flyback. Where are you getting all this information? I go, well, I looked at the circuit. That's what I'm doing. He goes, no. He says, you must be talking about a DC flyback. No, it's right there. You're doing it. And so we went back and forth on that. And then I just take mine, man, and I can control it. So I can either take my ZBS with my cap bank and control it, or I could basically take a sine wave, put it on a trigger circuit and put it into there, and I can control it that way. Either way, it still controls the same. The difference is I'm not cutting off the amount of energy going through it. And it's hard for people to understand because they didn't learn energy that way. They learn it, and I hate to say it, but they have a bunch of electrons in there, and the electrons, ion, protons, whatever the heck they want to tell you is in there. They take a big bag of garbage and they throw it in there and they say, look, this is my dirty litter and this is what it is. It's not really what it is. It was easy. They're just fields. Hey, I want to thank you listeners out there, man. You gave 5 Old Man Business memberships. Thank you very much, brother. I really do appreciate that, man. Awesome. taking care of me again, man. But when we get to the voltages and stuff, it's easy to transform. So if you tell me, hey, I want to run an AC flyback, not a problem. We can put frequency in that. I want to run a Tesla coil. Okay, we could change the frequency in that. I could do, bipolar. We'll just move the number one to the center, create a bipolar, and we'll drop a cap bank in there and we'll change the frequency on it all day. Okay? And then we'll move the number one side to side. We could change the frequency. You got a couple different ways we could do it in there, but we can still change it. And you go, oh man, well, there's three different spots in every regular number two winding, so we can find each one of those resonance spots and run them, because we knew they were in there when we did the test and we checked it on the radio method, which you get three different types of resonance frequency. You're just using the best one available. Most people forget when they do that they found two more that they don't usually use. What happens, when you have three different coils sitting next to you, just number twos, and you didn't realize they were in there, but you start flipping your cap bank on your original and you start turning them on. And you're like, well, how that's not even close to the frequency of my Tesla coil. You go, but it was. Because in radio frequency, you found the amplification point three different times, right? At three different numbers. Now your number two that's sitting over there will turn on because you hit one of them. And you go, oh, wow. And it just drives you nuts if you don't know it. And then once you know it, you're like, this is the coolest thing in the world. Watch, I can start playing with this. And the bigger the frequency in the coil, the easier it is to find it in the cap bank. Say you got 250 kilohertz, right, in your coil. That's what you designed it to do. It's going to be harder to hit those slices in there to the other ones, okay? You got 1 megahertz Tesla coil, and you want to go ahead and find those. Take your cap bank, and this is by increments of 10. You just flip it, and it goes 10. It'll jump, okay? It'll go from 160. It'll go up to right around like 350, and it'll hit that right there. It'll amplify right there. You got your frequency and resonance already, and you're going, okay, there's no way there's another one. So I flip another 10, right? 520, okay? Up to 630, somewhere in there. It'll give you another one. And you're going, oh, okay, come on now, Nathan, that ain't right. But it was in there. It told you that it was in there. Then you hit another one around 800, and then you hit another one around 1.2, okay? And you're going, all right, I have all these in here. What does that mean? It means that you have a lock in there that you're just changing the dial. And every time you change the dial and you put the correct things in there, it brings you to each resonance level. One of the coolest things ever about hooking that cap bank into everything is that it was giving you answers you'd never find before. Traditional Tesla coil, most people are lucky to put on a circuit and get that thing to light for more than a minute before they have to go in and replace their parts. I see them all over YouTube, man. Turn them on, a few seconds later, they fry. They even tell you, hey, when you build this, get a couple more, get a little box of them because you're going to fry a bunch of them. And I know a lot of people like Dennis out there has, the same circuits that I do, run a little bit different capacitors, but ours last all day. I mean, we rarely are changing out parts. People who buy my coil stuff, man, same thing. Boom, man, it's working all the time. Matter of fact, it has too much power. I hear from people all the time, Nathan, this thing has too much power in it. What the hell are you doing over there? Well, we build stuff that works because on what we do is we test things. In order to test things, they have to work for a long time. And that means the fields have to be higher, that has to work better. And, we have to work things out better. I will tell you, though, that oscilloscope, when I'm trying to find one for very cheap, people want a lot of money for old equipment, man. I don't like it. Trying to find one under $100 that's good. I need an XY axis, and we want one that's analog. And it goes to what Sheila's doing. Is right over here, like Dennis says, we're looking for the ratio. We're looking for that ratio. Once we find that ratio, just like we found in that 1 megahertz Tesla coil would be great for running this stuff, is it shows you the ratio in between them. Okay? That's what it's going to do. I don't want to say this. It outlines what looks like a flower, okay, in the way that you get your ratios. So you can make every single one of them. Now, it's a trip because when you look at the ley lines and you understand what that means, it means that there's obviously a frequency going on. There's obviously a ratio in the planet going on, and it comes out with a simple geometry in the end. Just understand what that means. They always say this stuff's on the fringe. It's really not. This should be mainstream science. When you put the capacitance in the right spot, you get the ratios in the right spots, it makes certain geometrical patterns out of it. Once it does that, you can multiply it. You say, well, they always say that's fringe, Nathan, and they don't really understand it because they're not doing it. I go, well, when you start making honeycomb shapes and you start to figure out, hey, this was something that science should have paid attention to. Has there anybody who figured this out? And then you go, oh, but there is. Okay, and you go, what's going on in our airplanes? Let me just tell you a little bit of secrets about what's going on in airplanes that you may not realize. All of this fringe stuff is being used in the airplanes. All of the fringe stuff is being used in the bombs. People can be incinerated before the bomb even gets to them. The actual geometry matters a ton when you get into how your plane goes and how fast it goes and how fast you can turn that plane without much inertia on it, where it sucks you back into your seat and pins your eyeballs to the back of your skull. If you want to change those, you must understand the geometry of it and the resonance of it. They do understand it, and they understand it very well. They say it's what do they call it? Inertial mass reduction. No, it's more of canceling fields. What you're doing is aligning fields to cancel them, is what you're doing. They say it's a mass reduction because it's technically a loss in weight. But really what you're doing is aligning fields in order to eliminate mass. And just think about the difference in the way I say it. Their way it makes it think like, oh my God, you got anti-gravity. No, what you did is you remove the energy form that's pushing down on you and causing you to slow down. You're removing that. That's what you're doing. So it's a little bit different in wording. I mean, technically you can go either way, but what you're really doing is you're just removing the energy that's impeding your way, and you're able to go through it faster, and it reduces the inertia. They went out here, and Schauberger was trying to show us something in an understanding here. If you take a tornado, okay, and you go to the eye of the tornado, it's calm, right? But there's no inertia in the center of it. Yeah, I mean, there may be just a hair of inertia, but there's really not. Think about what that means. All the energy is on the outside. It's taken the energy from the inside and pulled it to the outside. It's opened up a bit of space that now you can travel through. So what does that mean? It means that whatever propellant you're using, regardless of what it is, it makes it 1,000 times faster. Why? Because there's no resistance on it. You say, well, there's air. There's barely any air. It's like space. So if you're over there and you got one of those nice engines on there, man, and you just want to hit the gas, guess what? You're flying right through it. But what happens on the opposite side of that? The opposite side of it has all the energy. So if you try to avoid that wormhole that you're looking at, you're ditching straight in the ocean. So I'll give you an example of this. After World War II, they had some planes, and they were testing them off the coast of Miami. And there were 5 planes, and they got lost, and they figured, well, what's going on? Well, what they didn't realize is they went over the Bermuda Triangle, and over the Bermuda Triangle, it creates these anomalies. So what happens normally? You say, "Oh my God, I can't go into the eye of that storm," right? Even if it's sideways. You go, "Well, why is it sideways, Nathan?" Well, because the way that those things are built is they hit a point in there where there's a curl. Normally, we have them like this all the way down all the time. But what happens in those zones is the curl of the planet right here, where you're getting your different levels of scalar happens, and then it curls differently. It'll hit the curl, create the zone, make a vortex that you can go through. And if you go through it, you're just fine. Okay, you're gonna fly right through it. You're gonna cut down your time. And there was a guy that went through it, and he gave testimony to it that it basically let him go, like 300 times the speed that he was going at or whatever without a problem. And just it basically took his craft and sucked it through. Then you get to the 5 airplanes, okay, from the US government that didn't do that. And you find them in formation sitting on the bottom of the ocean. And you go, well, why are they sitting on the bottom of the ocean in formation? Because they hit the outskirts of it. They tried to probably dip below it or avoid it. They hit all of the energy and were immediately sucked into the ocean right at the same level. It's interesting in the way that works because, yes, it does reduce your time, but it's really reducing the inertia and you're going faster, though it would be said to be time travel because you're not supposed to be able to travel at that speed. So, yes, you could call it time travel in that way, but it's really just removing the inertia that's in your way or removing the energy in your way, the impedance that's in front of you, and allowing you to go through. But that stuff's done by the energy of the earth. I don't think people realize that you're manipulating energy in your craft to manipulate the energy in the earth. You have to realize that. That's why people don't really understand ball lightning. Think about what I'm trying to tell you. You have a magnetic field and it's swirling. Okay? It's going one direction. You got an eddy current field going this way. It's going on another one, right? You're trying to align the two. Okay? You're trying to align them. You go, how do I get through this and how do I align them? And you find a curl spot. Okay? Once your anode and cathode, which means the high voltage up here and the magnetic field right here, get close enough together, they'll hit the curl. Now, 9 times out of 10, they do nothing. But when it flips to AC, okay, which the planet does, it flips to AC. You could tell because lightning's AC. It flips to AC, it creates a conversion. It creates the ball lightning. That's the event that you need to be able to create in open air in order to create that vortex. Okay. How do you do that? You say, well, we need some swirling eddy current. So what do you have to do? You basically take an aluminum plane, okay, and the aluminum plane already puts off the eddy currents. Okay. Once you get to the eddy currents in it, you have a curl. If you can hit the curl, what's going to happen? You're going to create a vortex around that plane. Okay. Now it doesn't have to be right on top of it. It could be behind it, but it's creating it in the drift or area from where your plane's coming from. Okay. It's going to be behind you until it catches up to you. That's the way it works. You're basically creating a vortex in there, like Schauberger was trying to tell you exactly how to do with his craft. Because what is he doing? He's ionizing all of the air. When he ionizes the air, it creates a vortex in the ether. It does it by hitting the curl. I mean, all this stuff's been mapped out since the 40s, and we've had it for a long time. It probably took us till about the 70s, close to the early 80s, to really put this thing into a perspective where we can use it. And you could tell by the way Reagan talked about it. He didn't talk about it like it was some kind of technology that was way off in the future. When he was telling you about the Star Wars program, this guy's telling you some kind of inside knowledge and like secret code that we just didn't realize what the hell he was talking about. But now when you start to put it together, you start to figure the stuff out of what he's saying. We have advanced technology way beyond what we're willing to tell you, but we're able to use it. That's what he's saying. So he wanted to preemptively fix it so he can use it. That's what he was doing. Once you look back on it and you realize the technologies that we can see today, you can see what he's saying. Think about it. You got crowd control, right? What is crowd control today on the devices they use? They use what? You could say it's a resonance-based form. It's resonating the molecules in your body near you. It's what they're doing. They're using sound waves in order to push it out to you. So what happens? Your blood feels like it's on fire. Okay, you just want to run. Immediate response, you run. Okay, all kinds of things happens. You can throw up. You just get sick out of nowhere. You just start vomiting. All of this happens in those fields. You can feel it a little bit in your testicle if it's powerful enough. I got times where I just go outside and vomit. You get times where, man, I don't want to be near this. It messes with the body. And you say, well, why does it do that, Nathan? Well, it's the same reason that you put the rod down the center of it and you can start messing with all the water. So there's two sides to it. You go, okay, well, what are the two sides? Well, you put a positive and negative in water and it structures the water. What happens when you put the rod down the center of the testicle into it? It deconstructs the water. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that if you push this stuff at a distance and you use sound to push it, it's going to go to everybody around you and be able to use in crowd control, because now those same feelings you got out of both of those, you could do to other people. Now think about that. If you have an experiment out of control, what does that sound like? You're making what the Ark of the Covenant did a long time ago. You're creating a device that gives everything off that looks like nuclear, but it's not. That's what you're doing. You're using resonance frequency to mess with everybody. What does that mean? It creates very high level capacitors. So if you have it the wrong thing, you don't use wood poles, you're dust. You're getting AC and you're going to the ground. It's as simple as that. Once you realize the signature of what something does, you can relate it to something else that does the same thing and see if they match. Sometimes they'll match perfectly. Sometimes you need to adjust the whole thing to it, but it doesn't. Make you think twice about ancient technology when you realize what the technology they're using today for crowd control is the same thing they had in the Ark of the Covenant. Do we need to find the Ark today to start up the pyramids? No. Sorry, we knew how to do that a long time ago. We could have started those up in the 70s without a problem. Just like that. Start them up. We could imprint massive amount of information on crystal. What does that mean for all the jewels that are found in every one of these things in ancient Egypt? I would be checking them to see what information's in them. I'd be checking them to see if they found something. Not all technology is on paper back then. It's our ignorance that thinks that. They put information on crystals. They write a code for DNA on crystals now. Just understand that. They already have that technology now. They are manipulating diamonds right now to continuously have energy inside of them. Why? Because they found a diamond in, I think it was England's royal set that always had energy into it. And once they found that, they said, oh, hold on. A diamond has that energy and you can keep energy into it. We need to make our own. Then what they do, they mapped that out and made their own. Just understand this. This is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with people out there and how science actually works. If they know it's possible, then they build it. There are certain things out there, man, if you take the crowd control device and connect it with a laser, you're going to just eliminate things, okay? Eliminate them. They will literally dissolve right in front of you. That's the technology we already have. Okay? I don't get paid to say this stuff, guys. I don't get paid to do any of this stuff. I build things and run across things and then take the stuff and throw it into a fire pit because I don't want anybody else building it. Okay? They absolutely have it. You could tell with some of the weapons out there when they're using the sonic weapons and stuff, and how they just take out sides of mountains like they're nothing. I mean, we all think it's all TNT and the bombs. Oh, it's not. No, God, no, it's not. We're so far ahead of everyone else. It's unreal. Yeah. Oh, well, of course they use Tesla. I mean, where do you think they got their understanding of resonance from? They literally got their understanding of resonance from Tesla, and that kind of kicks you off. That's why I run into the stuff so much, because I figured out what Tesla's doing and how he manipulates things, and it really changes how you understand something. The names of the 12 tribes are written in yeah, 12 precious stones. Well, think about that. If you got an emerald tablet, is there more information in there more than the writing? Okay. If you, what is it, the five sides? If you take the dexahedron that we always see, what is it, ancient Greece? It could be the Romans. That on all the sides of it, you have this little ball on every single side of it, right? It makes the 5 points. They have a little ball on each one, but then it's in 3D, right? But then you have the circles that are written there. Okay. Why are they there? Well, it's something Victor and I were talking about the other day, in that if all you did was take a rod and started it off in the center and then you mirrored it with a two-way mirror to everything on the inside, do you get a hologram on the outside? Do you get the bounce back? Is there something more written in there? You know, a lot of this stuff they have in there, and you won't understand until it's high voltage. There's a lot of stuff that we run into in the RAV that's actually high voltage, understanding of every picture you've ever seen. Everything that's ancient technology, they were telling you about something on high voltage. You see they wear these big hats. It looks like in ancient Egypt, and they show them all over the walls and stuff, right? And they have this big ball in there that's round in the center, and then they have these things that come out and look all ornamental like. We've created that same structure in the RAV, exactly the same structure. They are technology based. They're telling you what you find in high voltage and what's going on in our universe itself. They clearly wrote it for somebody whose technology was high enough. And just understand what I'm saying. Our technology was not high enough until lately, in this, since the 1950s, to get there. It hasn't been high enough until then to start to get there. You start to realize, hey, this is the time we'll have it. And they predicted as much. They knew it. You go over and look at that one hieroglyph of the UFO. Just understand what you're seeing over there. I mean, they always say the tank. I think it's a gunship boat. Either way, okay. You get over there, you see the comet in there. You see the helicopter in there. You get over to the other parts of the thing on there. You see the lunar shards in there. Uh, we wouldn't know until we get to the moon. And then they tell you how the frequency works on the bottom left hand corner of it. And before that, they got to the understanding of resonance and how that works. And you saw the Egyptian cross sitting in there, and you saw a bee on one side and a plant on the other. And if you've done the water experiment, you understand how that one works. It's a moment in time. It's a century. It's the 19th century is what they're saying that all this stuff would be understood in. Is it understood in that time? Yeah. Yeah, it was. It absolutely was understood in that time. They knew it. They knew everything about it. Okay. And the Egyptians predicted the time area it'd be in. And it's taken throughout the whole thing. There's the airplane in there that looks like a UFO. Okay. You see it as an L, which is exactly what they would look like from the side if you did it. And some people go, oh, no, 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 no. They carved out something and put that in there. For the people who say that, I got one question for you. Why? And when? I know. You tell me. Why did they do it and when did they do it? I don't care what was there before. That's pretty much irrelevant when it comes to the answer. Why is it there now? I don't want to debate history with you over what they got rid of or whatever. I just want to know why it's there now. See, you're going with the wrong question to me instead of the right one, and you're trying to direct the conversation in the wrong way, and I just refuse to do it. They had a different energy pattern in Egypt. They were pulling the energy out of the atmosphere from the pyramid itself. If you put if you put the top on it, okay, you can make it out of gold or silver or copper. Put the top on it. What does it do? It makes a cathode in the relationship with the sky. Now it's going to draw energy from the sky down the sides of the pyramid into the water table. 100% fact at the height that it's at, that's what it'll do. They have energy on the top of the pyramid right now. Just realize this. Tesla wrote the patent for pulling that energy out of the air already. Okay? We already have that patent. We know it's there. We know the energy's there. We know how to convert it. Heck, you could right now go over there and put an antenna on your roof, go drop it right to a center of a Tesla coil, and you're going to get energy. You could put it right to a capacitor and you're going to get energy out of it. It's that far down. For every meter you go up, it gets higher in the amount of energy you're going to get. When you get to the top of the pyramid, all you need is a collector. That's all you need. If the entire pyramid is in water, and they had a big moat looking thing around the bottom of the Great Pyramid, okay, just so you understand that, so it had water in it at all times. Water sucks into granite. Water sucks into limestone. All the way up. It's a wick effect. It'll go all the way up. You put a top on there, what happens? It pulls the energy directly into it. Okay? There's no getting around that. That's a simple physics fact. It's going to pull the energy right into it. The energy is going to be different than you're normally looking at, but they're going to pull the energy right into it, put it right in the water table. It's going to do the same exact thing as if you take your Tesla coil, put it right down the center, and put it into the water table. The exact same energy will show up. What does that mean for other pyramids that are like that? It means it's all there. They didn't need any other funny parts. They didn't need anything else. They needed that. What are the rest of the parts for? If you wanted to change the frequency and the energy coming down, you need to put a sine wave in there. What are you doing with the chamber with all the different distances? You're creating which sine wave you want. That's what you're doing. Just understand. They had it way before us. They ran the whole energy system around the planet on a different type of energy than we do it. You say, well, it's AC and DC, Nathan. It's AC and DC. I'm telling you right now, it's not the way that we use AC and DC that they had. It's more of an eddy current type of a field, okay? It's not at the same angle as your regular energy. You have to convert. I tell you that, and I still think people don't understand. Tesla Tower, what did he do? Same thing. We're just playing with radiant energy, guys. That's it. It's accumulating radiant energy into the top of the tower and puts it right down, right into the water table. Okay, well, it's there. What happens if I put a tower all around the world? I put them everywhere. What happens then? The energy goes in the water table everywhere. What's special about that energy is it does not harm plant life, marine life, or anything else. Just understand that. When plants get associated with that type of water, once you change the energy in it, they grow faster. Why? Because it's not like positive energy. You're not structuring it like veins. You're opening it up. Okay. You're allowing that water to flow. Once you let water flow through plants faster, they grow faster. Okay. They're always trying to suck up the plants and nutrients around them. You're feeding that plant faster. It grows faster. That's what this energy does. So, what happens if you have a desert? Well, in that desert, it'll become a lush garden. That's what happens. Because you may have reeds right now, but when you get to trees and everything else, you can grow them all day long. You have a higher enough water source now to do it. And because every single one of those things is opened up so the water goes into them faster. Okay, it gets in there. All the nutrients gets inside of them. All the stuff that it picks up from the minerals inside of the actual water table. Think of how many minerals are in there. It doesn't matter if it's ocean water or fresh water. All the minerals in there are being now used by this. They're sucking up into the trees and everything around them, bushes, everything. They're making a lush garden out of the middle of a desert. That's how they're doing it. So you got to get to it. Once you understand that, and you understand that Tesla could have done it too, and you look at how many pyramids around the world, this is what will drive you insane. If you know they can make a lush garden by doing that, yet they had pyramids all over the world, did they at some point terraform this planet? They had the ability to. With that many points of contact all over the world, they had the ability to change the frequency on all of them by changing it in one. You only need one pillar to change it once you have the whole network connected. Did they terraform this planet? It's interesting to think about. Think about the understanding of that. If you went over to Mars and put a bunch of pyramids everywhere, got them to react the same exact way, would you terraform it? Would it pull the water table up? It's interesting to think about it because they knew that gravity was not a fundamental force. It's a sum of its parts. So if you start playing with the parts of the whole planet by using all the pyramids around it and changing the frequency of it, could you terraform Mars without having to do anything? Water table's easy, guys. All it needs is it needs a moon out there. It basically needs it to pull it back and forth. And then once you do that, you're going to be able to stretch it out a little bit. And as soon as you stretch it out a little bit, the water table is going to come up from the center of Mars and pull out. It's also going to strengthen the magnetosphere because you're pulling energy to the outside. Okay, you're creating a sine wave that's permanent to the planet, where the moons they have may not have enough mass in order to do that. But once they fix that, they can make it habitable again. There's no questions that you can make it habitable again. All you have to do is to know how. Energy works the same way again and again. And I keep saying it. You just have to realize how it works. That's why when you do the RAV experiment, you look at it and you go, well, what is it good for? I don't know. You can figure out all the planetary physics around it. It's working the same way. We could put it in a vacuum chamber and check the reaction of it. We could put it out in open air and it builds. One of the main things that's great about it is it builds in open air. It's telling you something about how things work. When it shows the field lines come out and you see it building another RAV and it starts over there and it's light and it builds this thing into plasma, and all of a sudden you get a little satellite next to it and you start to realize these things aren't rocks in our solar system that started smashing against each other. Okay, let's just think about that right now. That's not what happened. These things built out of light into plasma, into mass. They could have accumulated some of the mass from any other solar system stuff that came into it, but they started out as structure. They did not just form all of a sudden. There was no moon collision and they started wrapping around each other. No, the moon was created when the planet was created. I'm sorry. It just was. Okay? That's what the Rav experiment's telling you. Energy works in a certain way. You must see that energy in that way. Once you do, then you understand it. Can you make this thing in different resonance frequencies? Yes. Once you realize what you're doing, you also understand entanglement. The sun is entangled to every single planet. Okay? And in each one of them, as soon as it pulses, the other ones pulse. You can find out what the speed of light is based on when the sun pulses and then our planet pulses. Okay? It's that easy. That's how they create the photon. It's this one does boom. How long until this one goes off? And it does it throughout the entire solar system that way. Is there a planet X? No. Look, do you know what planet X is? It's when you have a magnetosphere, it'll create a body here. The angles that the magnetosphere goes like this on one side are at a C. On the other side, they go like this and they entangle back over and come out like this and create a secondary area. Now, that secondary area has only got to have light in it. It doesn't have to have anything else. And it could be black light, could be dark. It's the way the field works. It goes around like this. But you got to remember, if it shows up on our planet and it's showing up in the RAV, it's showing up in the solar system. Our solar system is a big round bubble field with this thing on the outside. Why is that important? Because without that part out there, we can't reduce the inertia. Think about this. You're standing on the planet's moving over 1,000 miles per hour, yet you don't feel it. Why? It's because that thing's out there. But the solar system is going through the entire area around it, right? You're going, oh God, I don't want to say this. You're literally going around in a circle, okay? In your solar system, and they say all the planets are moving, okay? And sorry, I can't think of the word that it goes around right now. But it's going around in circles, right? Why don't you feel that? Why aren't you feeling everything moving? Why, when we look out in space, does it look like everything's still? Why does it feel like you're still standing on a planet looking across the yard and it's not moving? But when you're looking at a satellite picture of the next planet, it looks like it's not moving like that, okay? You see some orbital rotation, but you're not seeing it. It's because the solar system itself has a field around it. And on the outside of that field, you have a secondary part where the energy goes like this to it, and then it goes like this to the other side. That's why. Because it's canceling the inertia in your area already. It's already doing it. That's what that is. So what does Planet X have to do with it? Well, it depends on the speed that you're going around, right? You're in your little galaxy, okay? Your galaxy's spinning around and you're flying through your galaxy. Well, that's what it is. You cannot take planets and fly them through a galaxy. Just understand this. Without canceling out some form of inertia based on the vortex you create. Think about that. If we don't feel the rotational speed on the planet, we get out to space and we're not feeling the rotational field of the solar system, there's something else driving it because we know we're in a galaxy going around in a circle. Okay? We're going through a vortex, which the vortex cancels on the inertia, which means that we're creating a vortex with our solar system that's canceling inertia, while our planet is creating a vortex limiting inertia. Just understand how that worked. You can put the pieces of the puzzle together and see it clearly. We are eliminating the inertia factor already. So this whole thing about a wormhole, our planet naturally does it. We just need to pay attention. Pay attention to what it's doing. Why is it doing it? Okay? What is it that it looks like that it's doing? If we created that same field, would we be able to do it? Yes. That's what brings us from a type 0 civilization to a type 1 civilization right away. We understood our environment and see exactly how it works in order to repeat it to create the same conditions they did in order to move through it. What does that mean? If here is the center of the galaxy and we're out here, okay, and moving, there's stuff moving behind us. There's all kinds of planetary systems, solar systems out there moving behind us. What do we have to do? Break free of the one we're in, catch up with the other one without getting destroyed. Once you get outside of our solar system, you are at the mercy of any inertia. So what do you need to do? You need to vortex it to the next solar system. That's not terribly difficult if you understood the rules of how you did it inside the planet. You're going to use the actual field that it creates on the outside in order to get that spin, okay, in order to create the vortex to get to the next one. That's what you're going to do. You say, well, how would we prove that today? Well, you get a couple RAVs together and find out exactly how you can create an Einstein-Rosen bridge in between them. Because that's essentially what you're going to be doing. That's how it works. You don't fold space. Space is already folded. Space is already in the correct place that it needs to be. It's our understanding of space as a grid that's wrong. It's not a flat plane. Okay? We are inside of a bubble, and you have to understand that. We're not on a flat plane. There is a plane of energy that goes throughout our solar system. There's no question about that. It's because that's where the null zone is when you create when you create an energy. And what does that mean? It means where the vortexes meet. In between, it creates a null zone in between it that goes out this way, side to side. It's the same reason that you can have rings on a planet. They create that one ring that goes out from it. Well, the sun has the same thing. It goes out like this. It's at an angle, okay? It makes it what looks like this on the side, on both sides of it. We stay in that zone at all times. Some of this stuff isn't that hard to figure out. Planetary physics isn't hard to figure out. It is if you think that things come out of nowhere. If you think things just create themselves out of nowhere, then you got a problem. Then you don't know how anything works. It's fairly simple once you see it. You can see it in the RAV clear as day. You can see where it's building everything out. What is a black hole? It is simply the point where the light comes into it and it compresses the light. It's a compression of light. Then on the other side of the black hole, what happens? It then forms the light into plasma and starts creating things out of it. That's what's going on. That's pretty simple. We see all the light going into it. It's not necessarily matter or mass that we're seeing into it. Everything gets crushed and destroyed. Everything goes down to its fundamental particles, and you end up with light. Light converts to plasma. That's why that exchange is so important, but you can reverse it. You can take the plasma and convert it back into light. These things can all be explained. It all depends on which direction you're going and how well you understand energy. But that's what happens in it. Some of these things, they always tell you, oh man, we're ripping around and they show the planets. You go, well, hey buddy, that doesn't make a lot of sense because that's a hell of a lot of inertia, right? I mean, that means as soon as we hit space, we're sucked our ass to the back of the craft. We're going right through it, right? Because we got inertia out the butt. And they go, but that's not what's happening. We go, then what did you miss? It's great to put the planets out there. It's great to make them in circles. What'd you miss? They also miss that when you actually look at it and you see what they're doing, the planets go up, they make a leaf. They come around, they make another leaf. They come around, they make another leaf. If you look at the rotation of the planets, each one of them, and the actual patterns they're putting down, take your time and do it. This is where the fringe meets real science. Look at every one of those patterns. You're going to find them on mandalas everywhere. You're going to find geometrical structures that out of those points on the pattern. Resonance makes geometrical structure every time. It gives you the beat frequency and it gives you the frequency, which is the beats give you the distance. The distance over how many times you put it in there is your geometrical structure. You can do the same with the resonance chamber. Go take one out of a microwave and figure it out. You're going to get a geometrical structure. I'm not telling you anything you probably shouldn't have already known. Giuseppe Tepe. Resonance chambers. They're trying to show you something. Look at the way it's designed. How far of a distance between the next thing do you get to if you create energy in the center? Each one of them creates a certain frequency in between them. But you don't have to do it in a circle. You can do it like this. Right in the Great Pyramid, just like that. The resonance chambers. They're there to set a resonance based on the energy level that you put out. So if your energy level is here in the bottom and it spreads out like this, what one it stops at, there you go. Think about that. Next time you want to do that, take the understanding of a microwave and take that right there. Just that frequency generator makes. Turn it, put it right there at the bottom of the pyramid. Now figure out where everything is in distance between each other. You'll start to see a pattern, but you'll also see a pattern in your fifths. You go, well, if I put a point at the bottom and I drew a circle around it and I look at the way the chamber and the Great Pyramid is made, Nathan, that tells me my circle of fifths. Yeah, it does. Because that's always been part of energy. It tells you what the fifths are in harmonics. Why? Because resonance is about harmonics. All of it ties in together, man. All of it works together. This is not some kind of BS thing. All the stuff that they put out there was actually true. It's different ways to understand it. We're backwards in our society of understanding it. They understood testicle energy and we're working back from it. Okay? Different understanding. They started at a different place than we did. But that's okay. We can meet in the middle and cross as long as we understand each other. They started at a different point. They understood the energy of the atmosphere before we did. Here we are starting little energies and, creating little batteries and stuff like that. Just a different way of understanding things. Okay. And it could have just been the way the planet was at the time. It was easy to understand that because that's what was the dominant force was. It was easier to see. Therefore, you build your technology on that. That's fine. It's different now. We built our technology in reverse of what you did. That's okay. As long as we understand what it is we're doing. Now, all this stuff adds up, guys. Look at all the patterns in there. There's a pattern system for everything. One of the crazy things you start realizing is if you do, how do I say this? If you do get into the Russell scale and you start understanding for what it is it true in changing some of the electron patterns to make different elements? Just think about this. Is it true? I didn't ask you what you thought of it. I just asked you if it was true or not. And the answer is yes. That's what's messed up. He knew it because he was transmutating elements through the Russell scale with that understanding. And people are arguing the wrong point. Oh, it doesn't look like the periodic scale. Oh, it's got to be flat. It's got to look like this. It does it based on this. But if he's transmutating elements based on the way he's showing it to you, then you should have looked into it and find out what was true. The problem is you're arguing the wrong point all the time. People do this all the time. They argue the stupidest things. Did it work? Yes. Should we find out how it worked? No. We'll just say that form of physics is debunked. It's not necessarily true. It means that something else went on in there, and then instead of accounting for it and redoing your math, you just, oh, it's debunked. That's a pile of horse shit. Okay? And you have a degree. That's what's even worse. Look at it for what it is and find out what's going on. What parts are the same? What parts are different? Resonance is all over the place. If you don't have it in there, or if you think it's spooky at a distance, you fucking failed. Okay? I'm sorry, you just did. You didn't realize what was going on. Energy's accumulated and then returned back to the source. Everything's entangled. Everything. The source shuts off, all of us shut off. Everything. If the sun shuts down, all the planets are dead. It's all entangled. All of it. You have to realize that. If you don't realize that, you're screwed. Why do things build bigger in different areas than they do here? Because the environment's different. Is it that hard to figure out? Is that, well, this sun over here is like 200 times bigger. What's the environment like? That's the first thing I'd ask. What's the impedance level of the environment? Because I can tell you right now, in energy, that's all that matters. What kind of bubble did it fill up from that? It's probably pretty big for that solar system, which means it reduces the amount of energy between each thing. Okay, which means that things can build bigger. We did vacuum experiments for the same reason, to find out the same goddamn answer. I just, I want people to understand this. We're smarter than this. We shouldn't keep going backwards because we think that, I don't know, that one thing's wrong and we have to debunk it because we have to be right. No, the answer has to be right in the end. I don't give a crap if your formula's right. I care that the answer's right at the end. You see, I think most people are that way. They could give a crap what end of physics you work on. They simply just want to know, when it combines with the rest of it, does it work? That's it. Things are going to evolve over time. We all understand that. How you don't have a theory of everything by now based on what you see out there is unbelievable to me. You're not paying attention. You're not understanding how things are working. I saw one guy, he goes, oh, electrical theory is completely debunked. Okay. What are you using for your experiments, Mr. Superstar? Electricity. Oh, what? I thought it was debunked. You didn't have some magical fairy coming out of your ass making your experiment work? No, I'm going to use electricity. But you just said that electrical theory was debunked. Well, in big planets, it's debunked. Oh. How did you create everything else? I mean, this is the conversations they have, and you're just sitting over on the sideline going, hey, can you make some popcorn and get me some beer, man? Because this is the stupidest train wreck I've ever seen. I mean, how is this idiot saying it's debunked? It's part of the whole total system. How the hell does he think it's debunked? I mean, it's just ridiculous on its face. Sorry, guys, I'm a little guy and I bitch a lot. I see a lot of things, and I see things for what they are. And The funny thing is, man, is I can probably describe physics on this channel that people get awards for all day long without even reading it. I mean, I, it, I find it stupid that we don't see it. And instead of debunking something, you should be going, well, how did it work? How can I work it into my system? How can I add that? I do that all the time, man. And I look, I'm like I said, I'm a grumpy old man, so I have a little bit of resistance in it when it comes to anything. Joe will tell you that. He'll tell me something, and I'll go, okay, Joe, I think you're full of shit. And then I go, and about a week later, I'm calling Joe back up, going, Joe, you were right. And, it happens more times than you think. And it's because, like everybody, I have the same resistance to it. But for me, it only takes a week. Thank God it doesn't take years. You know what I mean? But we do it all the time. You know, I think every person's guilty of it. You know, I do. Sean and I do that same thing. You know what I mean? Sean's way better at circuits than I am. You come out with something, man, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, right? I get grumpy. Come back a week later, and yeah, all right. I come to agreement. We're gonna fix it now. I want to know what the teleforce you guys think it is. What do you think it is? Let me just ask that. They said right here. Yeah, you figured out how Tesla made the teleforce be. Okay, and I was wondering if you had any other insights into it. Um, what do you think the teleforce is? I'm actually curious about it. Like I told you guys many times, I don't read a lot of patents on it. I have read a lot of Teslas, but I don't think he said anything about that. The 1908 Tunguska blast event. So when that meteor came into, what was it, northern Russia or something like that, and blew up everywhere? Is that what that the event what you're talking about? Oh, okay, hold on. Tesla made it so it was a force that beams off the planet in order to go into another area and create a blast. Not a meteorite, but he created the blast. I think I know what you're talking about now. How did he do that? Well, he'd have to use light in order to do it because you have to bounce off the magnetosphere, which light is very powerful. Once it hits the magnetosphere, it can convert to different energies. Is that what you're talking about? It was the ionosphere discharge into the ground. Yes. Okay. Ionized light. Yeah. He probably created blue light. Think about that. I don't know if you know this once you bounce things off the magnetosphere, but if you create blue light, it'll basically incinerate everything except for what's blue. That's why they call it blue light. It you saw Hawaii, I think it was just recently, where everything in the whole neighborhood was flattened to the ground. Okay, completely gone, except for things that were blue. When they, I don't want to say this, HARP. You want to know what HARP does? It screws with the ionosphere. That's what it does. That's the kind of thing Tesla would have created, but Tesla would have done it, in an array of coils in order to do it. Oh, I know it wasn't HARP that did it. I'm telling you, that's what HARP does today. They took Tesla's understanding and put it into that machine. Okay? That's what's going on. Of course, it's a directed energy weapon. Again, what do you think HARP is? But please understand, I understand the distinction of what you're saying. Tesla did it with his coils. HARP, 40 to 50 years later, did it with what they did. They did the same thing. They're playing with the ionosphere in order to create an energy weapon that wipes things out. It can create blasts. It all depends on where it hits on that level and that curl is. Okay, they can do it in air, they can do it on the ground. Either way, they can both make both things happen. Yeah. You want to mess with the ionosphere, you got to bounce things off of it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not that terribly difficult, is it? Okay, we use satellites right now, right? And we can bounce things off the ionosphere right now. Okay. Not the Wardenclyffe Tower. We can use other things. Okay. If you wanted to use a satellite dish, you could just bounce it off the ionosphere. You bounce it off the dish network, stuff like that, right? You create the different energy in there because you want to use focused light is what you want to use. Okay. And without getting into some of the details of it, you got to resonate focused light. It's basically what it comes down to. Once you do that, you're going to start breaking down some of the structures of the ionosphere and create it to bounce. It's like a radio wave, okay, in the way that it bounces off the ionosphere. But then you're looking for the curl. You're looking for the distance of the energy levels that come out of the planet. And you're looking to take advantage of that. In that, you're looking for your conversion. You're looking for a conversion of energy right then in order to create an explosion. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. Well, of course it's going to charge it when you bounce it. Sorry, I've tried to read the questions over here on the side. I don't think everybody's seeing them. I'm sorry, I'll put them up. Who's asking the question? My fault, guys. Okay. 1901 photographs, yeah. Let's see. So, okay. There's another story that I don't know if you know. They had uh, it's an Indian story that has to do with advanced people coming down and handing technology to them. And what it was able to do was build mountains and reduce mountains, right? It does it by changing the resonance frequency of things. And they were able to create mountain ranges to take them down. And they said the people who received it were playing with it. And instead of understanding the magnitude of what they were doing to construct things correctly, they just played with it like children. So the people who advanced took it back away. And they said, you're not ready for this. You're only going to be able to have this technology back once you're ready for it. I think it's kind of the understanding here. And I know they're not exactly parallel. They compensated Tesla's stuff because we weren't ready for it. Tesla was extremely smart. People weren't ready for it. That's what I think's going on here. We advanced in technology so far so fast that people weren't ready for it and they didn't want to have them to have it. I really think that's what's going on. They're how do you explain this to somebody that by changing energy or frequency in your ionosphere that you can create rain? How do you explain that to somebody without them saying, dude, you're crackpot, man. You can't do that. Who do you think you are? But that's exactly what he does. That's what HARP does. They're messing with our planet right now. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like the way they do things. You know, ion colliders, these big colliders that they keep building, these worthless pieces of crap. They keep building those, but what are they doing? Introducing a ton of magnetism in one area on our planet, screwing up all of our planetary system, making things have earthquakes that shouldn't have them. And then they go, oh, no, it wasn't us. Yeah, okay. Gotcha, buddy. They're doing that, and they go, "Oh, we can't pass the Van Allen belts." Well, why cannot you pass the Van Allen belts? Well, there's too much radiation. Well, was that because of the 5 nuclear weapons that you detonated? Then the Soviets detonated 5 nuclear weapons in space. Is that why there's a ton of radiation being held in by the Van Allen belt? Is that why you say we can't cross them now? Or was this just an epiphany from the first time you crossed them to go to the moon? I don't know. You talk to the people, the astronauts who actually went through the Van Allen belts, and they said it was very quick. Why? There's a lot of stories that don't make a whole lot of sense out here. But I can tell you what does make sense. The military makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense. They're going to fuck up everything in every which way to find out how it works. That's about the way it works. They're going to keep fucking pushing buttons until they can't push no more buttons, until everything's fucked, just so they can learn how it works. That's a fact. Say, well, that's not true. That's not true. Oh, yeah, that's true. They tested every single kind of bomb. Why? See how it works. Okay. I just, by the way, they have bombs that'll do what you're talking about, a discharge in midair that will completely obliterate mountains. Just so we understand each other, they have weapons that do that right now. They absolutely took Tesla's work and did it. Okay. Um, if you talk to the people in the Iraq war, and they wonder why people gave up so fast. Well, the eyewitnesses says they watched the people next to them just disintegrate. They didn't burn. Okay. They didn't act like they got shot. They were disintegrated. That's what's going on. And yes, I know they didn't have bombs in 1908 that did that. I'm just saying that the technology exists right now. Okay. Now, am I going to be able to do anything about it? Hell no. Absolutely not. Am I going to try to do anything about it? Absolutely not. I just hope they don't fuck it up too bad, because I'd like to live here on this planet. That's pretty much how it works. Okay. We all just pray to God that these fuckers just don't push the button on the moon. Okay. The last thing I fucking want is anything of the military's on the moon. Why? Because those fuckers like to blow shit up. Okay? That's why. That's their favorite thing in the world. Fucking blow shit up. And I'd rather them not fuck with that, okay? So. Oh, yeah, well, the first thing you do is if an alien craft come by, even if the craft was saying hi and had a bunch of cheerleaders out the top, the military would have shot it down. You know that. It could be a Volkswagen bus full of cheerleaders. And first thing the U.S. military would do is go, well, we got to shoot it down. Wouldn't you want to see what the cheerleaders look like before you shot it down? I mean, anything? No, that's the way they work. I know I'm making a stupid comparison, guys, but that's how they work. Okay, I think it's funny. Oh man. Oh man. Some look like a balloon. That's funny. Yeah, it's all balloons out there. It's all we just got weather balloons. Oh man. Yeah, some of this stuff you can't make up, man. But I think it's interesting, man, that we're not finding that correlation faster. Crowd control, what'd they do? What'd they do over to the walls of Jericho? Why is it working on the walls of Jericho to knock it down, yet they think we don't understand it now? Well, I'm telling you that the bombs blow up and it takes out the side of a mountain, they're using the same understandings of taking out the walls of Jericho. They just found a more efficient way of doing it. Think about that. That's what they did. They just found a more efficient way of doing it. They said, well, what did they use? Sound, resonance, all those things? Yeah. They have it in a bomb. Hit. How do we get a how do we get the understanding of a nuclear bomb without the destruction of a nuclear bomb? Well, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You take all the things in there like that and rip it in half. Anyway, yeah, it's all good, man. Like I said, man, I completed my floors in my garage, man. I'm pretty happy about that. They got me a little medication here to deal with the pain. So get a little frustrated when I'm on that stuff. Anyway, it looks good in here, man. Here, I'll show you. I'll take my camera. Oh, look at that. I got the nice flooring in now. It's starting to. I got stuff everywhere though. Got my gravity flyers right there. But you can see it behind me too. Maybe it's all back there. So change it how it looked up here too. It's all. Oh man, I thought those are great shots or anything, but it's coming together. It's making the whole thing look nice, man. You keep the nice light color on the floor, and everything else in here is about black. So it made a nice contrast. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm pretty excited. Yeah. Well, before my concrete, the people that previously owned my house tell you they just dropped paint everywhere. It was all over the everything. Yeah, it was all over everything, all over the walls, all over the doors. I mean, you can look back at the early time when I started doing the live streams. It was horrific in here. We had to. Oh man, I had a bunch of people come over and do stuff. All the insulation had to be put in, drywall put in. You know what I mean? Do all that, then build everything and build the desk and put in the cabinet, stuff like that. Put the OMB on the garage door. It was all white before. Make the racks for the printers. Yeah, got a desk over here that I do all my soldering on. I got the camera that goes over top now. It's a lot of work, man, to get all this stuff done. I'm kind of a poor old man. I don't have a lot to do it all the time, but when I got to it, I got all the pieces done, man. It's starting to really look like it's something nice now. So don't have my crap in the garage anymore. Paul's absolutely right. Uh, my cat's in the house. So I had a little kitten in here. For those of you who didn't know, probably everybody did. Thing tried to bomb me out of existence every time I started to do my live stream. Um, so what it was is my wife's sister had found a kitten, and it's just a little baby kitten, but it was out in the wild. So I had him in my garage. Make sure that we got any kind of fleas off the cat. You know what I mean? Make sure you got it on medications. Make sure you go to the vet, get it checked out. Make sure there's no things in the ears, stuff like that. Got all that stuff. Make sure it's all gone and cleaned up. And make sure use the litter box. Just general things. You know what I mean? When you have a little kitten, and it was very young, so you don't just put it in the house with a bunch of other cats until you do that. So that was kind of the process that was going on, and that dust from that litter box was killing me, man. I was itching all over the place for the last 2 months. I just started itching everywhere. Drove me absolutely insane. Cat was coming over, eating the wires while I'm on live stream, knocking my stuff down. It was a complete disaster. I will say this: he's gotten in the house and in with my other cats, and he absolutely loves it. That cat loves it in there, man. He's got another kitten, probably like 4 months older than him, and all they do is play and roll around and have a good time. They're in the Christmas tree playing with the lights. They're having the greatest time of their life, man. I have 5 cats now, and I think that's enough. But we rescue the cats when we can. And yeah, they're pretty happy all in there in the house. You know what I mean? They all play and have a good time. So yeah, cat's not in my garage anymore. He got moved into the regular house because he passed all of his little checks. So I was pretty happy about that, and he's more than happy. He got little friends to play with. Nice. Yeah, I like cats, man. Cats kind of do their own thing. They don't need as much attention from me. You know what I mean? You get to go pet them every once in a while, hang out with them, play, and then they're off doing their own thing. Oh, you have one show up on the patio, and now they have 11. Wow. I had kittens. Man, I might be going to the shelter with 11. That's a lot. Yeah, I gotta love cats, man. I know a lot of people out there have dogs and stuff, and I think that's great. When I was younger, we had dogs. Didn't I don't know. It wasn't my thing. It was my kids' thing. They like dogs. Okay, I'm not a dog person. They need too much attention, and I don't like a bunch of animals touching me. So cats are perfect. You go over and they get their attention in the morning, and then in the afternoon they sleep, and then they're up all night running around while you're sleeping. So anyway, all right, guys, it's been about 2 hours. I think you've heard me ramble on long enough, but yeah, we're gonna get to my gravity flyers this week. That's kind of my priority on this. I've been reworking some circuits and stuff, so I'll be showing them here in the next few weeks on some of those. I got some new parts in that I haven't used before. Trying to make a circuit that everybody can use and everybody can replicate real quick. As many parts that are already pre-done as I possibly can. That way it makes it easy for everybody. So once I do that, man, I'll show it. We'll get some capacitance test done this week. Now that I got everything cleaned up in here and I can actually put things away for good this time, I think we'll do real well in getting everything cleaned up. So with all that said, man, I want to thank you guys all here for listening to me and listening to an old man ramble. I really do appreciate it, man. You guys are awesome in the chat. I want to give a shout out right now to Ulysses, man. He gave 5 Old Man Bill memberships. Thank you, brother. I do appreciate it. With all that said, man, have yourselves a great day.
The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put him in the red. Where conscious and spirituality been stricken from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to instead. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time. battling the establishment for just a little recognition, has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds